everyone, I'm Yi Jing and my metric number is 262928. In these videos, I will present the control methods for database. Nowadays, database has become more important to most of the organizations by helping them to keep and maintain all the data. However, there are some threats to database which will create a huge trouble to the organization. Thus, it is necessary to carry out some controls to maintain the database security. There are 5 major types of controls, which are access control, inference policy, user identifications and authentications, accountabilities and auditing, and data encryption. First, let's look into access control. It is a control that the organizations has certain rules and regulations to limit the access to database of different users to safeguard the data from any unauthorized access. The access controls will manage the permissions of users in 3 main areas. Firstly, in the file permissions, only the user who obtain the approvals can manage the files. Next is program permission, which entitlements must be obtained before the user allows to run the program. Lastly is data rights, that the data will allow to update when the user has the privilege. We can classify the access controls into 2 major models, which are discretionary access control model. That means the access to database is based on the classification and identity of users. And second, mandatory access control model, which is a model that will sort the data and users into different classes and a suitable regulations will apply. The second control method is inference policy. These controls can be used to safeguard the data that require high protection level from the harms of inference attack. What is inference attack? It is an attack that unauthorized users refer to some data and make some inference to obtain the sensitive data that is not entitled to him. It usually will use in statistical database to protect the data from indirect disclosure. Next is user identifications and authentication. These controls will determine a list of authorized parties to enter the database and retrieve data. A confirmation process also will occur when the users try to log into database. Besides, the privilege areas for each user also will define, and all the actions of user will be captured and tracked by the system to allow the responsible party to audit their action. The following control methods is accountabilities and auditing. It related with observations and documentations of all activities that happens within database. This is to make sure there are no any unsuitable actions are executed and help in identifications of any violations and defects within the database environment. The last control is data encryption. It protects the data by encrypting it into a code which can't understand by unauthorized users, and a decoding key is required in order to unlock it and read the content. This control usually is applied to confidential and sensitive data, especially during data transmission process, because even the unauthorized user obtains the data, but it is useless for him. In conclusions, it is very important to safeguard our database as it is the backbone of the organization. It might be challenging to protect the database, but from the above discussions, we find out that there are a lot of control that we can take place to strengthen the security of database and safeguard our data. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.